Okay, next is hub marketing. Now, hub marketing is really everything when it comes to what you're going to do as a real estate agent online. I don't care if you're doing video or you're doing, and I don't care what kind of video it is, whether it's property videos or whether it's green screen videos or maybe screencasts like this one right here. You need a hub. And your hub is your website because that's where you want people to go. Whether you're using direct mail, and if, postcards, door hangers, whatever, your chances of being able to convert somebody in that instant that it receives are pretty slim. Which means you need to give them a way to go back to learn more about you or get more information, and that is your hub. So your hub is actually WordPress. So you need a WordPress real estate website. I don't care what kind of website you have. WordPress is, in my opinion, the best, but just make sure whatever you have, you own it. Okay, you don't want to be leasing a website. You know what I mean? Where you're paying, let's say, $30 a month or $50 a month or whatever. But if you stop paying, if your website goes away, it's time to look into getting something else, something that you own. You need to own your own hub. So that's enough about that. So let's get into hub marketing. So I like to call this the Great Reset. Now, as I mentioned before, I've been in title for 12 years. In 2005 in Phoenix, the market was absolutely insane. I'd say, even a blind poodle could sell real estate. Everywhere you went, whether it be the grocery store, no matter where you were, everyday people were talking about how much their homes were worth or how many homes they bought. Well, as you know, the market crashed, right? And it hurt everywhere, but it really hurt here in Phoenix. In 2006, the market came tumbling down. And when it did, the concept of an REO agent was born, or a short sale agent was born. And all these agents rushed towards this. And you know what? I don't blame them because that's where the business was. When you're in sales, go where the people are, go where the business is. And the business was not in traditional sales. People couldn't get financing. Their homes were all upside down. The business was in short sale and the business was in REO. That's where the agents went. But here's the problem. When they went that way, they neglected their existing database. They stopped calling on people. They stopped doing traditional marketing and went after nothing but REO and short sale. And rightfully so, again, because that's all there was, right? I like to tell people that you could even see who needed your services at this point. All you had to do was look at a 30, 60, 90 late, or maybe a notice of trustee sale. Notice of default is what we call it here in Arizona. When they received that, you knew who needed your services. But guess what? Now you don't even know. Not only do they not know who needs their services, their existing databases have been decimated. People have been foreclosed on. They've moved on without them. And that's why I call it the Great Reset, because the market has changed. So imagine right now there's a guy, and let's call this guy Fred. He's in upstate New York. Now, I'm from upstate New York. I'm from Syracuse, and it is cold up in Syracuse, okay? It's tough. You got tough people up there that put up with the snow. But just imagine that there's a guy here, and let's call him Fred, and he's shoveling snow. It's cold, wet, heavy snow. Now just imagine that he's miserable, okay? His property taxes continue to go up for an educational system his kids no longer partake in. Crime is going up at the same time that transportation and social programs are going down. In addition, his wife is miserable. She wants to move, just like her friends, to a warm weather state. Florida, California, Nevada, Texas, right? Arizona. She wants to move. So like 98% of consumers, he goes online. Here's my question for you. How can he find you? Right? He doesn't know your name. He doesn't know your brokerage. He doesn't know about your experience. He doesn't know about you at all. He doesn't even know you exist. And guess what? He doesn't care. Because it was never about you. It was always about him. So how can he find you? Guys, you'd be blown away with the number of agents that don't have the answer for that. You need to know, because more and more of your business is going to be coming from the internet going forward, which means you need to know how people can find you. So we're going to talk about outbound versus inbound marketing. Now, inbound marketing is what mytitleguy.com was built upon. So let's talk about what outbound marketing is. Well, outbound marketing is where a real estate agent pushes their marketing messages out as far as possible in the hopes that it lands on a buyer at the exact moment in time they need their services. And these examples include postcards, flyers, email blasts, cold calls, billboards, grocery card ads. I love grocery card ads, by the way, because when I'm looking for a real estate agent, I head to aisle 6 at Safeway and grab a grocery card, don't you? Print real estate books, trade shows, radio, TV, press releases, newsletters. Now, look at these mediums for marketing and ask yourself, as a consumer, not a real estate agent, I don't care what you're doing right now, as a consumer, when is the last time you responded to any of these mediums? When's the last time you picked up a print real estate book if it wasn't to see your own ad? When's the last time you responded to somebody cold calling you to sell you something? When's the last time you made a call from a billboard? When's the last time you responded to a newsletter? Okay, think about that. Now, I'm not saying these things don't work, by the way. They certainly do, but in limited ways, and only if you're using them within a specific audience, sending them to a specific audience with a specific message to get them to do something. We're going to cover that a little later, but these are outbound marketing. And here's the problem with it. It's marketing to the future. Again, you're hoping that somebody receives something and then is going to act upon it, right? I mean, they has to hit at the exact moment in time they need something. Is that going to happen? Probably not. Let's put it another way. My wife has a new car. Now, we're receiving all kinds of things in the mail that I perceive to be of value, like free oil changes, free tire rotation, and I actually save those things because they're worth money to me. But guess what? Even when it's time to go get the oil change, I can't even find those things, right? I like to call it the drawer of death because what goes in it doesn't come out, right? This is marketing to the future, and this is also known as spam. So outbound marketing techniques have become less effective for two main reasons. The first one is that we are absolutely inundated with people that want to sell us something over 2,000 times a day, right? Postcards, flyers, bus ads, the taxi cab that went by you, the TV commercial that you're watching, the banner ad on the internet. And we hate it. We hate to be sold to. So what have we done? Well, we've come up with ingenious ways to block them. Right? We have caller ID, we have spam filtering, we have TiVo or DVR. I mean, who doesn't have a DVR? Sometimes I start my TV shows 30 minutes late just so I can filter right through the commercials because I hate them. Satellite radio, and there's other forms of commercial-free media. But now we go to the internet, and we go to the internet for two main reasons. The first one is to gather information, and the second one is to solve a problem. Look at the last time you went online, whether it was your mobile device or whatever it was, the last time you went online, if it wasn't for entertainment on YouTube, why were you going? It was to gather information or solve a problem. So now we're going to talk about inbound marketing. And inbound marketing is a strategy where you're getting found online at the exact moment in time that consumers are most interested in hearing about you, your services, your value, your expertise. So here's your opportunity. Most real estate agents spend 90% of their marketing on outbound marketing and 10% on inbound marketing. That 90% is postcards, flyers, door hangers, print newsletters, etc. And the 10% of inbound marketing, those aren't agents that have WordPress websites with some kind of indexable IDX guys. That 10% are the people that are using a pay-to-play model where they're paying to advertise on Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, HotPads, Movado, etc. So what I advocate is that you flip these ratios, whereas most of your marketing is spent on inbound marketing and the 10% of outbound marketing is used to drive traffic to your website. That's hub marketing. So how do you do it? Well, again, it's called hub marketing. Hub marketing is where you're creating content on your website, on your WordPress real estate website, okay? Genesis framework, hopefully, is what you should be looking at. AgentPress has a good one. I'll introduce you to a company later that's going to give you a discount on a WordPress website if you're interested. But you're creating content and then you're syndicating it out to places like Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com, to Google and YouTube and Bing and Yahoo, to Facebook, to Twitter, to LinkedIn, to StumbleUpon, to Pinterest. I could go on and on and on. Here's an example of hub marketing. These are stats from July 12th, 2013 from mytitleguy.com. You'll see that at the time, my Google was sending me 1,700 people a month, 1,739 people, and the average person was looking at 1.7 pages and spending 1 minute and 47 seconds on my website. Now, let me tell you, first of all, that the average website visitor spends less than 40 seconds, okay? So if we're at 1 minute and 47 seconds, we're doing okay, right? Direct is the people that went directly to mytitleguy.com. They typed in mytitleguy.com. Now, the only way they could have known about mytitleguy.com was if they had found it through a Google search and then came back, right, directly there. Or maybe they found it through a social media channel like Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn and then came directly there. But look what's happening now. Our page visit went up from 1.7 with Google to 1.9. And now look, another 1 minute and 47 seconds. Bing 159 people every single month are coming from Bing. Now, Bing's not a big search engine. I don't know if you guys know that. Most of search is dominated by Google and will continue to be, as far as I know. Microsoft, which owns Bing, is spending hundreds of millions of dollars to try and compete. Bing does go up a little bit in market share, but Google is by far the 800-pound elephant in the room. Now we're moving down to Facebook referral. What's a Facebook referral? A Facebook referral is a content that I put on Facebook that when somebody clicks on it, it takes them to my website. And you'll see that there's 159 people every single month. Now, what I want to tell you about Facebook is this. I used to get about 600 people every single month that were coming from Facebook to my website. But that changed when Facebook rolled out something called Timeline. And by the way, when Timeline came out, traffic across all Facebook platforms, all Facebook pages dropped by something like 57%, right? That's another reason why you need to have your own website, because you don't want to be reliant upon something you don't own, and you do not own Facebook. There were plenty of social media gurus out there that were saying, hey, you don't need a website. Don't get a website. There's 800 million people on Facebook. That's all you need. Well, guess what? If you built up your business model on getting a certain number of leads from one particular platform, and now all of a sudden that platform went public, as Facebook did, and now they need to generate some kind of ad revenue, which means they're paying for promoted posts, and they rolled out Timeline, and all of a sudden the number of people going to your site goes down from, let's say, 600 to a third of that. That hurts. We're going to move over, look at the pages, right? 2 minutes and 6 seconds, and now we're up to 2 minutes and 19 seconds for the people that are going to my website and staying there. Okay? Look at LinkedIn. Look at YouTube. YouTube, 2 minutes and 59 seconds. This is hub marketing. These are just the first 10. So if you do it right, you get leads. Now, these are all people that filled out forms on my website, right? Here's the first one. It's somebody named Art and a real estate website. Somebody that's looking for a real estate agent. Hey, or I'm a real estate agent. Can you help me? And the second one is somebody who wants to know how to market a listing. But look at the third one. His name is Mark. And it says, hey, I'm considering walking away from my mortgage. My loan amount's $104,000. The value is now down to $70,000. I gave $160,000 back for it in 2008. What are my options? I can't get it refinanced. Thanks. Now, most people, when I show people this, they're blown away by it. They can't believe the amount of information that a consumer has given. They think that people will only give limited information. And guys, that is not true. Why are they giving me this information? Because they're in pain. And when I say they're in pain, here's what I mean. Imagine for a second that you have a family doctor. Okay, let's call him Dr. John. And you go see Dr. John all the time. He's your primary physician. You go see Dr. John when there's anything wrong. Oh, my elbow hurts, whatever, okay? Now, one day, you're in pain, okay? You bang your knee or something, your leg hurts, so you go see Dr. John. But here's the thing, Dr. John is out sick. And now it's Dr. Steven is there. And you don't know Dr. Steven. He doesn't know you. You don't know him. You don't have a relationship at all. So you sit down on Dr. Steven's table and tell me what happens. Do you not tell him anything because you don't know him? No. You try to give him as much information as you can so he can solve your problem, right? Hey, Dr. Steven, listen, when I bend my knee like this, it hurts like this. And when I do this, it hurts like this. And by the way, when I run really hard on the treadmill, it hurts like this. Why are you giving that much information? Because you're in pain. Now, here's the deal. When people are in pain, they will do anything to avoid being in pain or to get out of it, okay? Humans are motivated by looking good and not looking bad, right? They want to get out of pain. When somebody fills out a form on your website, you'd be blown away with the amount of information. I've seen leads come in from people that have our kind of websites where it's like, hey, my name is so-and-so. I've been married for X years. I have X amount of kids. Listen, everything was going good until my wife was laid off, and then they cut my hours and all this different stuff, and now I don't know what to do, and can you help? I see it all the time. They will give you as much information as they can to avoid pain. So how do you do with hub marketing? What is it? Well, it starts with using your website as a hub that attracts consumers naturally, organically, through search engines like Google, Yahoo, Bing, and YouTube, but also through social media sites like Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, StumbleUpon, YouTube, Vimeo, Dig, Pinterest, Instagram. I could go on and on and on. So here's the analogy. This is a watering hole in Africa. Okay, now you have two different kinds of lions in Africa. Okay, you have an outbound marketing lion who chases the elephants through the jungle, and he exhausts himself. I mean, he exhausts all of his resources trying to catch his next meal. Okay, he gets kicked in the head. He's exhausted, right? He takes a hell of a lot of rejection, right? This method of trying to catch the elephant is time consuming and it's certainly exhausting. Well, guys, this represents outbound marketing. Well, with the inbound marketing lion, he goes directly to the watering hole and waits. He knows the elephants are going to need water. Why would you want to chase people around when you can have them come to you, right? That's what you're doing with content marketing. That's what you're doing with hub marketing. Here's some inbound marketing channels: the Google, Yahoo, Bing, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, StumbleUpon, Pinterest, Google AdWords, which is pay-per-click. Pay-per-click is awesome, guys. Just make sure if you're going to use pay-per-click that you know what keywords that you're going for, and make sure they're specific. You don't want to go for Realtor. It'll be incredibly expensive anyway. But somebody, they're going for keywords that are a specific niche. Facebook ads, same thing. Make sure that if you're going to do ads, you know exactly what kind of person you're going after. Also, Active Rain. Active Rain is a great way, or is a great inbound marketing channel. Just don't make it your only primary one. For those of you that don't know what Active Rain is, it's a blogging platform. I can tell you that I cut my teeth on Active Rain. That's where I first learned about blogging. But what happens with Active Rain is that once you understand the concept of blogging, and then you understand how to drive traffic, you soon start realizing, if I'm going to drive traffic, I should probably be driving traffic to a site that I own instead of somebody else. And what happens is people end up moving off of Active Rain to WordPress. So if you're using Active Rain, keep doing it. Just make sure you use it as, a backlink. Okay, put a little bit of content on Active Rain with a hyperlink with some keywords directly to a certain page on your website. That's how you can use Active Rain. So it starts with a website that works, and that is WordPress. WordPress is the future of real estate, guys. It is awesome. MyTitleGuy.com is built on WordPress. So why do people use WordPress? Well, WordPress is a content management system, and it's based upon posts and pages. And it's great. It's mobile friendly. It's video friendly. It supports images. It's great. It is, for all extensive purposes, it is a content management system. And you know what? The great thing about it is you don't have to understand the concepts of the internet. You don't have to understand code. You don't need to understand CSS and PHP. You don't need any of that stuff. You don't have to know HTML. That's the great thing about WordPress. So why are you doing all this? Why are people using WordPress? Well, part of it is they want to get into Google's index. Many of you have websites that have never been indexed or haven't been indexed in a long time and you don't even know it. Here's how you can find out, and it's a really interesting thing I like to show people. You can do a site search, and your site search looks like this. Go to Google, type in site:// and then your website.com. And what Google's going to tell you is the number of pages it has in its index. Okay, some of you are going to be very surprised to find out how many there are. Some of you are going to have 5,000. That's because you're using an indexable IDX, and that's great. But plenty of you are going to have 4. And that means that Google hasn't indexed your site in a long time, and you essentially have only 4 opportunities to get found online. Okay, so you need to get into Google's index, and that's one of the great things about WordPress. So who uses WordPress? Well, Harvard, eBay, Yahoo, CNN, the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Ford, Sony, Samsung, Pepsi, Nikon, Lexus. Okay, 24% of the world's biggest websites use WordPress. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, wait a minute, WordPress is ugly, isn't it? And that is the old version of WordPress. I mean, think about a long blog roll where you have to scroll all the way down. That's not how WordPress is anymore. As I said, MyTitleGuy.com is built on WordPress. So if you're going to use WordPress, you're going to want somebody who understands how to build WordPress. You're going to want some kind of hybrid site where it looks like a website, but it's built upon the WordPress framework. Right? 24% of the world's biggest websites are built on WordPress. Who else? Well, Coke, the US Army, PayPal, Mozilla Firefox, Flickr, Ben & Jerry's. GE uses WordPress. Guys, GE makes absolutely everything from bombs to microwaves. PlayStation uses WordPress. These are all WordPress websites. And look at the different blogging platforms. You got WordPress, Typepad, Blogsmith, Movable Type, Gawker, etc. You got Tumblr. Guys, WordPress is huge. So why are people using WordPress, right? Why would people do it? Besides the fact that you own it, why would they do it? Well, because it's open source. Okay, it means that it's free to use if you wish. There's WordPress.com and there's WordPress.org. Now, for those of you that have iPhones, you understand the concept of open source because we don't have it, guys. People on Android do. Part of the thing that makes Apple so safe to use, right? Now I say safe. If you're a hacker, please don't try to hack me just to prove it. But one of the reasons that Apple's more secure than PC is because Apple makes everything itself, okay? Or it approves everything itself. So therefore, you have a round peg fitting into a round hole, and it fits, right? It's designed to fit that way. Whereas with PC, you have different people who've designed different programs to work with PC, and they don't always work. And sometimes they need to come up with a patch, right? And sometimes that's how viruses come. Well, guess what? WordPress is open source. Now, there's good and a bad thing with open source. Open source means that anybody can program for it. We don't have that with Apple, right? If you want to get something into the into the App Store, you need to go through a certain process to do that. Whereas with Android and WordPress, anybody can design for it. So you have this collaborative freedom that creates these wonderful themes, these wonderful plugins, these wonderful software that you can use in your site. WordPress is open source. There's a community of people that come together to make things better. Now, it also has themes. Themes change the way your website looks. Hey, you got a red website because you're with a certain real estate website or real estate company, and now you're going to change to another one, and now your logo is going to be blue. Fine, change your theme and make that blue. No big deal. It also has plugins, and plugins expand the functionality of your website. On mytitleguy.com on the right, when you get in through the blog, you'll see some videos on the right there. Those are a plugin. Okay, it's just a simple YouTube plugin that allows that to work. You can also sell things on your website with an easy plugin. You can have an IDX that's not framed in with a plugin. You can have social sharing with a plugin. I mean, this just goes on and on. There's literally thousands of plugins for WordPress. And this is the main reason people use WordPress, it's great for SEO or search engine optimization. Now, there was a point where if you wanted to get found online, you had to hire somebody. And that person would do black hat or white hat SEO. Black hat was the stuff you wanted to stay away from, the stuff that Google frowns upon, the stuff that Panda and Penguin exist to stop, right? And then there's the white hat stuff. Well, WordPress was great for SEO. You could create content. You could optimize it by putting in the right keywords and following the way that Google wants content written. You could do that and you can get found online. You didn't have to hire an SEO company anymore. Now, if you're a real estate agent, you're probably getting solicited all the time from SEO companies, both here and abroad, India, wherever. I can't tell you the number of people I've talked to who have bought SEO packages that got absolutely nothing from them. Okay, well, guess what? If you have WordPress, you can do your own SEO. Okay, SEO is a function of content, as we talked about in the content marketing class. It's great. Content is what this is all about. And you don't need a designer. Once your site is up and running, boom, you're done. As I said, you can go to WordPress.com, which is the free version, or there's WordPress.org, which is self-hosted. Okay, self-hosted, you are going to need a designer, you are going to need a programmer, unless you understand how to do that yourself. And then after that, you're good to go. Okay? So I told you it's a function of content. 98% of consumers are starting their home search online, but you can help them find you by creating the content that they are looking for, things that they're looking for online right now. Well, let's talk about content. What kind of content? Well, how about your listings? Zillow, Trulia, and Realtor.com are beating you constantly, right? Why? Because they're optimizing RETS feeds, which is your listings. You can write content about your own listings. You can make video about your own listings. You can write articles about your own listings and put them in your WordPress website. How about the short sale process, or both buying and selling? This is a great way to educate consumers. They hear, oh no, they go to a barbecue and someone says, don't buy a short sale, because I'll tell you, Sally and I, we were so close to buying on a short sale when the bank decided to foreclose and we wasted 6 months of our lives. Don't buy a short sale. Well, if you can educate consumers on what really entails in buying a short sale or selling a short sale, there's a good chance that you can help them find you. How about the REO process? Again, people say, oh no, I'm going to buy an REO. And you write an article that says, hey, here's why you maybe don't want to buy an REO. And by the way, maybe you should buy a traditional sale. And maybe you're going towards REO because you think it's a better deal. Well, guess what? You don't need to do that. I will show you how you can get a traditional sale at the right price. Fill out the form below. How about subdivisions? I like to tell people that the house that I live in now, my wife found it. It's crazy. The quick story is this. I lived in one area of Chandler. She would leave and she'd go to the grocery store, right? When I went to work, we had a little girl, Gabriella. And she would drive down the road to go to the grocery store, to go to Fry's. And on the way, she would pass a gated community. She'd go over and over and over again, right? And for years, she'd go to the grocery store. When she drove past this subdivision, if the gate was open, she would drive in. Over and over again, she did this, building an affinity, building a bond with this community. Until one day in 2006, she leaves to go to the grocery store. She drives by, the gate is open, of course, so she drives in. She finds an exclusive listing, right? That's not on the multiple listing service. She leaves, or she comes flying home. She says, Steven, get in the car now. I got in the car. We drove over. Guys, I live in that house today. My wife found it. Well, guess what? Consumers that live here in Phoenix or live in the area that you live in right now, they search by subdivision, okay? If you ask people where they live, especially here in Phoenix where people bond with subdivisions, they're not going to say, oh, no, where do you live? They're not going to say Val Vista and Baseline. They're going to say Val Vista Lakes because that's how we identify with things. So subdivisions is great content. How about market trends? Market trends is awesome. I see so many videos of people talking about the market without any context for what it really looks like. Okay? Talk about the market. Plenty of people, before they buy a house or sell a house, they want to know how the market is. Or maybe they've heard on the news the market's going up or down and they want to validate it. So they go online. Remember the whole gather information thing. Builders. There's plenty of builders that you can write about. Why is one builder better than another? Why do you recommend this builder or that builder? Right? Housing styles in your area. In Phoenix, basements are very rare, whereas on the East Coast, they're exceptionally common. Right? So write about housing styles in your area. How about the closing process? I can't tell you how many times I've seen somebody show up in Phoenix with a Ryder truck on a Friday to close escrow because they didn't know that in Arizona, you don't get the keys when you're closing like you do on HGTV. You get it when your deal records. Okay, the closing process, write about it, talk about it. Hey, the closing in Arizona, this is how it works. Things need to record. You close escrow, then it records, etc. This is how you're going to get people to find you. How about buying an investment property, right? Talk about it. What are the stages? First, they need to know what their credit score is, obviously, right? Do they qualify? Different loan types. People want to know, so they're going to look, hey, can I qualify to buy an investment property? What do I do to buy an investment property? If you've created this kind of content in video or article form, you can help them find you. How about choosing the right realtor? Guys, 80% of consumers are going to choose the first agent they find. So choosing the right realtor, this is when somebody's had a bad experience with a real estate agent. They got burned once already. Maybe this person didn't return calls, which, by the way, lack of communication is the number one complaint in the real estate industry. So now they don't want to make a mistake again, which means they want to know how to choose the right realtor. How about choosing the right lender or title company or contractor or things to do, maybe in Chandler where I live? When my daughter's on break, she's miserable, right? Because her Xbox, her Nintendo Wii, her dogs, her brother, her pool is not enough to keep her busy. So therefore, guess what I'm doing? I'm Googling things to do in Chandler, trying to find things for my daughter to do to keep her busy. How about 10 things not to do before buying a home? This is a really interesting spin on content. It seems like everywhere you go, people want to tell you what to do. I say tell them what not to do. I think it's a great way to implement fear of loss. What's fear of loss? Well, I teach a video course, and I remember one guy, he came out to me and he said, you know what, Steven, I hear your course is pretty cool, but I don't need to go because I'm an expert at video. And I said, oh, great. I guess you know what not to do then. And he went, wait, what? The fear of loss kicks in. What don't I know, right? This is a great way to attract somebody that thinks they know everything. They see your title, oh, I know everything about investing. And you say, hey, how not to invest in real estate? And you're like, uh-oh, right? How about the final walkthrough process in your area or in Arizona, right? Some people expect they're going to get the keys right away. Again, they're not going to. How about how to sell your home? Now, if you're an agent and you're thinking, why would I tell somebody how to sell your home? Guys, this is a great way to attract for sale by owners. Okay, a lot of them think I don't need a real estate agent. I could sell my home automatically. So now they're Googling how to sell my home. Plenty of people are going to say, oh no, get a realtor. I say go ahead and tell them how to sell your home. Start with number 1 and go down to number 500. First thing you want to do is this. Then you want to do this. Then you want to do this. Then you want to do this. And towards the end, say, by the way, if this seems like too much for you, simply fill out the form below and I'll come over today and price your home accordingly and help you get it on the market at a time where consumers can actually find it. Okay. Again, how not to sell your home. How about real estate definitions? One of the things you want to do is you want to wipe, and I mean wipe, the real estate jargon from your lexicon. You don't want to be using it. Call for a free CMA. Great. What's that? Okay, comparative market analysis, but that doesn't mean consumers understand what it is. How about search the MLS, which is one of the most annoying things. It drives me nuts when I hear it. Guys, the MLS is a soccer league. Stop saying MLS. That is not something that the average consumer understands. And by the way, even if they did, they wouldn't bond with it. Don't say search the MLS. How about search for your dream home? Okay? Don't use real estate definitions. You want to break it down to a fifth grade level so that anyone could understand it. How about property taxes? My parents live here in Arizona. They moved here from New York. One of the things my parents were absolutely blown away by was the property tax structure. Okay, they pay $2,000 a year here for a house. In New York, they pay $10,000 a year. If somebody knew the property tax structure in Arizona, for instance, they might actually move here because they can buy so much more home. How about senior housing? We have whole subdivisions built upon senior housing here. Senior housing, if you're not familiar with Arizona, it's like going on a cruise. I mean, you have absolutely everything from pickleball to horseshoes to fishing clubs and car clubs, and there's so many things to do. Senior housing is a great way to have somebody find you that's considering retiring. The pros and cons of anything, the pros and cons of selling your home, buying your home, of choosing this, of investing, whatever. The different types of mortgages is great content, right? Talk about it. Maybe, by the way, when it comes to content here, don't just talk about it yourself. Why don't you do a video with your loan officer and, start it off like, hi, I'm Steven with XYZ Real Estate. And, plenty of people ask me about the difference between FHA and VA loans. And that's why I brought in John from ABC Lending. John, can you say more about that? Yeah, absolutely, Steven. Hey, here's the deal. With FHA, it's this. And here's when you want to use a conventional loan and whatever. And now you've just created more content that can not only help people find you, but it's validated because now you have an expert talking about it. And by the way, that expert might actually put that content on their website now as well. How about your vendors, right? Who do you do business with and why does it benefit consumers? Why should they use your lender? Why should they use your preferred title company? Why is that? What's so great about them? Talk about it. How about what you should know about home inspections or, again, building trends? In Arizona, building trends picked up again, okay? There was a time when nobody was building. Now it is. What does that mean? What does it mean now that there's more new builds? Is that driving the price down to conventional homes? I don't know. Start talking about it. Tips for hiring contractors is a big one here in Arizona because so many people get scammed by contractors, right? Talk about the licensing process. Tell them where to go to see if someone's licensed, and etc. Tell them maybe you can be that one-stop shop for them and say, hey, if you're looking for a contractor, call me. And by the way, if you know anybody considering buying or selling, etc. How about credit scores? What is the lowest credit score that you can have to buy a house? They don't know. Guys, I don't even know. I've been in title 12 years and I can't tell you what the lowest credit score is to buy a house. Not only what is it, but I can't even tell you in today's market. But you know what? That's not my forte, it's yours. So start talking about it. How about FHA versus conventional mortgages? Which is better? Guys, best content you're ever going to see is the questions your clients ask you, right? We talked about that in the content marketing class. What are the questions they're asking you, right? Start creating top 10 lists of questions they're asking you and start making content about it. How about your marketing strategy? Plenty of real estate agents, say, hey, call about my 21-point marketing plan. What's that? What is your 21-point? I bet you your 21-point marketing plan actually consists of 1 point, which is the multiple listing service. Start talking about your marketing strategy. Hey, you list with me. I'm going to put your home where consumers actually are, and that's online. But not just online. I'm going to get it found in Google. I'm going to advertise on here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Start talking about it. These are all content ideas. This is what it looks like. This is the hub marketing model. You're creating content on your website. You're syndicating it out to Google, which is going to happen automatically if you're using WordPress, to LinkedIn, to Bing, to Twitter, Facebook, all these different things you're syndicating it out to. And all you want to do is drive traffic back to your website, but not to your homepage. You want to drive traffic inside to your interior pages.